Hello, and welcome to Tom Talks To, the only show where they let me speak to people. My name's Tom, I'm a comic artist, and today I'm speaking to Claire, also a comic artist, famous for MySillyComics. You'll see this stuff on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook maybe, anywhere on the internet essentially. And today I'm going to be talking to her about her journey with comics, her journey with art in general, and her influences. So, Claire, the first question I have for you is, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I didn't get any sleep last night. So I just had like two bowls of cereal at 4 in the morning,
Right.
and then I watched Cats the Musical with my boyfriend
Right.
while I was eating my cereal. So that was my breakfast experience.
Okay. Would you recommend this for all artists,
Just two
or...
bowls of Cinnamon Toast Crunch with a side of Cats the Musical. So I'm doing great.
It's good. It's
I
good to
would
know you
recommend
can.
the cereal, and I recommend the musical. I recommend the 1998/1999 stage film. I don't fuck with the 2019 film. I don't acknowledge its existence.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think that's a good breakfast combo, in my
Okay.
humble opinion.
Cool. Good. Good artist advice right there. Now, I'll ask like just what you've been reading recently. Anything that stood out to you? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to recommend?
Um, so I've been slowly but surely going through the manga volumes of Nichijou by Ichi Arawi. I believe that's how you say his name. I am just utterly in love with this series. I have been ever since I saw the anime way back when. I don't even remember when I saw it, but it's like my favorite one of all time.
Cool. 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 I've never read it, but I'm familiar with it.
I recommend it. It's so good. It's it's so good. Another one I've been reading is another manga by the author who did Princess Jellyfish. Her name escapes me at the moment. But it's a memoir and it's called Blank Canvas: My So-Called Artist Journey. And she calls it her so-called artist journey because it starts from when she's a kid to the present.
Hey, this is Tom from the future, currently editing the audio, and I noticed Claire cuts out right here. Sorry about that.
One of her mentors, and how that sort of evolves throughout her life and reflects her life decisions with this person. Um, because I utterly adore Princess Jellyfish. So when I saw that the mangaka for that was doing a memoir, I'm like, I'm jumping on that. I got the first like volume uh, on a whim when I went to a manga bookstore. Loved it, and now I have all five on my shelf. I don't have them with me here because they're at home and I'm in my dorm, as you can see.
Hmm.
But I highly recommend it. It really impacted me both as an artist and as a person, and just dealing with spoilers, I guess, loss of a friend, of a person who influenced your life, but then also as an artist and seeing how this artist that I admire artistic journey, her very specific one of being an art student in Japan and then getting into the manga industry and stuff like that. And it's very, very interesting.
Cool. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, this sounds really cool. I mean, you know, I personally do really like the journey of artists and stuff like that, which is why I wanted to do this show and make it like part of what we do. So yeah, no, well, that's good recommendations right there. So anyone listening should definitely check those out. So speaking of the journeys of artists and stuff like that, I'd like to know a little bit about how you got into making comics or just making art in general. Like, where did that begin?
So I've been making art ever since I could. You know, when you're a little kid and you um like these people throw supplies at you and then they're like do stuff and I'm like okay. Um but I really like to do it. And I really liked just making stuff. See that's my thing, I think. If I don't create something in some way, I think I'll explode.
Hmm.
That's just how I am. I remember this painting that I made when I was like 3 or 4 that my mom hung in her office for a while, and she just really liked it because it was like a 4-year-old's interpretation of a thunderstorm. And so and you know, all these little drawings here and there, and I would just be drawing all the time because I'm an only child and I didn't
Right.
have a lot of friends, so I needed to entertain myself. So I did that by making things.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I think every creative type kind of has that, right? Where they feel like they just gotta make stuff. Like that's just kind of part of them. I think that's something that
Yeah.
yeah.
Whether it be like drawing or whatever, or like or crocheting or needle felting, or hell, even singing, because I'm a singer as well.
Right.
Just like the creation of something is so like intrinsically linked to who I am
Hmm.
that like if I don't do it, then there's like then I feel like there's something wrong. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with me.
No, yeah, that makes sense. That's no sweet.
When it comes to comics, I didn't start making the sort of style of comics that I do now until about, I believe, 2018. But I had made like little comics here and there. Oh my God. I remember when I was in junior high of school, which, because I went to a kindergarten through eighth grade school. So that would be sixth grade to eighth grade, which is around the ages of like 10 to 12.
Mhm.
For because I know you're British and we have our terms
Thank you
and
for
you have your
translating.
terms.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
And that was when Adventure Time was really popular,
Ah,
and I'm like, this is that was like a huge influence on my art at the time, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a comic about a vampire and a werewolf who live together in a geodesic dome in the woods. And I remember I did like a whole first chapter, and it's all in a sketchbook somewhere at home. And it was actually pretty good, like looking back on it for what I was doing. And like, yeah, I was copying the Adventure Time art style, but like, damn, I was dedicated.
hmm. No, that's cool.
So and that and I look back on that fondly, being like, aw,
Yeah.
cute. This is cute. It's
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
It's not
definitely.
even like cringy. I don't really believe in like cringiness or
Hmm.
whatever. That's just really cute of me to
Yeah,
do.
like something only becomes cringy when you're ashamed of it, I guess. And it's like there's no point of being ashamed of like, I made something when I was like 12 or 13. Like that's okay. Like everyone's got to start there, you know? Like
Yeah, literally everyone has to start somewhere, and
yeah,
it was literally
exactly.
like this like penciled comic that I made in a sketchbook from Barnes and Noble.
That's
Like
brilliant.
the style's like Adventure Time. I named the characters after friends that I had.
Right.
Literally, a character was just Marshall Lee because I thought he was
Right.
cute. Um, but yeah, that's all you really need to know about that front.
That's awesome. That's cool to know.
And then I didn't really draw that much in high school. I
Mm,
did in like doodles and stuff and like my notes and in little sketchbooks here and there, but I didn't really draw like I do now. I had a drawing tablet because I got it as an eighth grade graduation gift. It's Wacom bamboo that doesn't work anymore
mm.
and now lies in my room as I can't get rid of it. It just holds too many memories.
Yeah.
Um, but then and this is what's very strange is a very critical point in my artistic journey is running a Scrappy Doo hate blog on Tumblr. Now,
Now this is news. No, this I didn't know about. I thought I did my research. I didn't know about this.
it's not a secret or anything. It's a completely separate thing, kind of, but not really. So when I was a senior in high school, meaning I was around 17, 18 years old,
Thanks.
um, I know I'm gonna do my translations as best as I can.
No, it's actually I really do appreciate it because I'm just sitting nodding like yes, and
Yeah,
like,
yes, I know these words. Yes, I honestly I feel the same way when people are like, first year." I'm like, first year of what? That doesn't explain anything. But yeah, when I was around 17 or 18 years old, I made a Scrappy Doo hate Tumblr as a joke, titled fuck-scrappydoo.tumblr.com. I was inspired by the likes of
Now,
ihatejohnarbuckle.tumblr.com.
I'm aware of this one, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do one with a character that I have a bit of vitriol about, and I can be funny about this, and let's see how it goes. What I did not expect was for this blog to become a very critical point for both my development as an artist and just as a person.
Mm-hmm. That's inspiring.
Because what ended up happening during high school, I was very depressed.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm still fighting to this day. But during high school, specifically when I was around 15, 16 years old, was when it was the worst time for me. And I was just starting to recover when I made this blog. What I sort of ended up doing was I ended up making the personification of my depression Scrappy Doo. So I would make posts about beating the shit out of him, which would in turn be like I'm beating the shit out of my depression.
Right.
Because I can make this very abstract thing tangible in the form of a cartoon dog that people really didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just like make these over dramatic, theatrical almost posts about defeating this ancient evil, this spirit of darkness or what have you. But then it was sort of like a weird therapeutic thing. That wasn't the only coping mechanism that I had. I'll have you know, because when I tell people that, they kind of think I'm crazy. But I was getting medication, I was going to therapy, you know, that wasn't the only thing I was doing.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd hope there's something else on top of that. It's good to know. Yeah.
That was like, see, I was using like the coping mechanisms that I learned in therapy, but that was like a little thing on the side. And it's also like the funniest way to handle your depression, I think.
Yeah.
Was that. And the reason I talk about this is because the first ever comic that I made in the style that I have now was for that blog, because this is gonna go into a bit of not safe for work territory.
Ooh.
But not terribly.
No, don't worry, it's fine.
I got an anonymous message on Tumblr, which are always great, saying Scrappy is peeing on Scooby's balls.
I've seen this one. I'm aware of this comic. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first ever comic that I made in this style that I've made into my career, which is just such an amazing start for me.
That is brilliant.
So I wonder if the person who sent me that message truly knows their impact,
the power they have,
and so many other people's lives have been affected by my work.
That is
fucking
brilliant.
Butterfly effect.
That is awesome. It's what if it's you from the future? You went back in time and messaged yourself there.
So, I was making comics for that, but then also making comics that didn't have to do with that, but I was just posting it on my own personal side blog because it was funny, but it didn't have to do with the subject matter of the blog. So I was like, you know what? I need like an archival system. So then I started MySillyComics. I literally put no thought into the name. It was just like, this is gonna serve as a archive blog for all of the comics that I make for various blogs that I have. They're comics that are mine. They are comics that are silly, and they are comics that is literally just the name. Put like zero thought into it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And now we're here. So that is the birth of MySillyComics.
Wow, what an origin story.
I know, isn't that fantastic?
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's like that could only happen at a very specific point in history. You know what I mean? Like that whole
that can only happen now.
Yes, exactly. It's like, you know, what's that quote? It's like, born too late to explore the Earth, born too early to explore space, born just in time to receive a message that says Scrappy is peeing on Shaggy's balls. So,
no, Scooby's balls.
Sorry.
You have to get these.
Have to get it right.
History correct.
Yeah, this is gonna be in the history books. Yeah, no, I should have got that right.
It's gonna be on the test later.
Oh man, I didn't study.
The MySillyComics quiz.
That is awesome. Yeah, like I remember seeing that, like, because I did my little bit of research. I saw you started in around, was it April 2018? I think is what I saw, and it was later in that year the little character we all know and love, called Bohug, started appearing in your work, and
A
he's
little
become
baby boy.
yeah, he's become sort of a regular of these comics, and people like him. People seem to very much like him, and
Ugh.
is there too much of a love for him? Is
No, no,
it?
no, it's good. It just makes me really happy.
I am aware a little bit of the origins of Bohug, but I'd like to hear your like the story from your perspective.
Yeah. So Bohug is a real bear. He's a real teddy bear that I
Hmm.
have. Um, he was given to me by a family member when I was born, along with another type of model like him, but it was a rabbit, and I just gravitated towards him.
Hmm.
So he has been a fixture in my life for a very, very long time, and I've always been drawing him. Like I think ever since I could draw, I just drew him. He was always like a muse and always a subject of my work whenever. Like there's a lot of very old Bohug art within the archives of my work because I'm very, very lucky that my parents saved nearly everything that
Hmm.
they could find of my stuff. So I've been drawing him for a very long time. And I've always like really, really liked stuffed animals just in general. I think they're awesome. I think they're the coolest shit ever. You have these little dudes and they're your friends and it's awesome. And
Simple
they're
as that.
soft and you can hug them and it's awesome. It's great.
Simple things.
Um it's simple things, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, look at my icon in Discord.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I was looking at that.
it's a little
It
caterpillar.
was a little plush caterpillar. Very nice.
And before I changed it, it was actually a little plush of Common Rider
I
build.
noticed that.
So
Yeah, I was admiring the Kamen Rider.
I love him. I'll get to that in a bit. Maybe,
Sure.
maybe I'll talk about Kamen Rider.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
hopefully, I love
Um.
Kamen Riders. So.
We have much to discuss.
Yeah, we can
But
talk about it later. Sure.
back to Bohug. He's the important guy here.
Hmm.
Um. And I drew a comic just about being nice to stuffed animals because I have hyper empathy.
Hmm.
And so, like, whenever I see someone being like mean to stuffed animals, it makes me really sad.
Right.
And so I'm like, huh, I'll just draw Bohug. You know, he's my little guy. Um, and I didn't expect that comic to get the reception that it did because
Mm.
people loved it to the point where I made a sequel to that comic, and that was Bohug's first debut. And then I was like, wow, you guys really liked the little dude in my comic. This is Bohug. He's my stuffed animal. Um, and it really resonated with people, so I just drew him more because I mean it makes me happy. I love
Hmm.
drawing him. Um, and then people really, really like him too, and it just means a lot to me, and I
Yeah.
know it means a lot to a lot of people too. Um, because when I was a teenager, I was sort of not ashamed, but a little embarrassed to still have this like teddy bear comfort object that I would sleep with every night. You know, because you know hashtag society tells you that like oh you when you get older you need to outgrow these things. Um, but I never wanted to. You know, it was never like oh I'm too old for this. Like he's always been such a big part of my life. I never wanted to just like up and abandon him just because I was getting older.
Hmm.
But I always felt a little embarrassed. So like when I would go to sleepovers or whatever of like friends that I didn't know too well, like I would sort of like hide him and make sure that his rattle within him because he has a little bell inside of him
Right.
wouldn't go off too much.
Hmm.
Um but then I, you know, I went to college and I'm like, okay, you know, any roommate that lives with me is gonna have to see this guy. So I'm gonna have to get over that a little bit. And then drawing him in that comic helped me really get over it. And then I realized that me drawing him in like those comics and stuff was very important to other people like me who were either older teens or adults or whatever age who had these things, who have either things from their childhood that mean a lot to them, or comfort objects that maybe they acquired recently but still mean a lot to them. Because these things matter to us a lot. Like I can only speak for myself, but Bohug is like more than a teddy bear to me. He's like akin to a living person. He is like literally my best friend, and he's been with me my entire life. And he's just so much more to me than like an object or like just a stuffed animal or anything. There's like this soul within him. Like, are you familiar with the Velveteen Rabbit?
I've heard of it. I can't say I'm super familiar.
The story of the Velveteen Rabbit is that this velvet rabbit was loved so much by a child that it became real. Like, he was so worn and tattered over the years from all the love that this child gave it. And because of all that love, it became real. And that story has always really resonated with me in regards to Bohug, because I really feel like that, you know, because he's very worn and tattered, and he's gone through so many, like, sewing surgeries and transplants and stuff to keep him around, keep him going. But he's real to me, and that really resonates with a lot of people who feel the same way about their specific comfort objects or childhood friends and stuff like that. So, like, drawing Bohug is not only important for me because it's a very personal thing, but also for a lot of other people. And some people just like him because he's cute, which is awesome.
He definitely is. I can vouch.
Because he is cute. Yeah. He's a little baby boy. But then there's that deeper connection that a lot of people understand. Because, you know, sometimes you go through life with people not understanding that. Like, it's just like people like, oh, it's just a toy, you know, whatever. But then you meet people who understand that, who have friends of their own that they still have, no matter how old they are. My friend Ellie, they have an old Build-A-Bear cheetah. I actually have the same one, but it's a lot less worn than the one that they have.
Right.
But her name is Spotty, and whenever me and Ellie hang out, we always bring Bohug and Spotty so that they can hang out, because they're friends too.
That's wonderful.
Like, we would bring them in the car, and then when we would go into like a store or something, we would put Spotty and Bohug in the back seat, and they'd be like hugging and stuff, and
keeping each other company. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're friends, you know, and like Spotty is Ellie's Bohug, and a lot of people have their own Bohugs in their own ways, and you know, I feel like it's important to normalize and stuff and not be ashamed of, because they're our friends, you know? They're our little guys. They're our little buddies.
They are indeed our little buddies. That's wonderful. That is such a nice story. Such a nice origin. I had an inkling that it was going to be something cool, but like, no, that was really nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I don't set out to be wholesome, but sometimes I just end up being that way.
No, it was brilliant. Thank you. There's another recurring character in your comics that we've seen. One bigger than Bohug, a celebrity, if you will, who shops. This shopping celebrity makes many appearances in your comics, and her name is Hatsune Miku, and now this comic in particular that I'm alluding to, 4 panels of comedy gold, just you know, there's all those memes of the first Garfield comic, like, where can my pipe be? I think there's an equal amount of wonderful edits of Celebrity Shop 2. Your opus, some would say. Now, I think, yeah, it's fair to say this is probably your most popular comic. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of edits of Celebrity Shop 2 over the years of all sorts of different characters. Every fan base kind of has their own version of this comic, where essentially for the
I
listeners,
know.
Claire reaches for peaches. There is a panel of two hands going for the peaches, and the celebrity, in this case Miku, says, so sorry, and Claire says, Miku. And that's the comic, and there are a lot of edits of said comic where you can replace Claire, you can replace Miku, you can replace the peaches even in some wild remix of this comic.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, maybe not even this comic, but any edits of your comics that you've seen that have stood out to you, or what places you've seen your comic, or punchlines that you wouldn't have expected to see it, that type of thing.
First, can I actually talk about the comic itself?
Oh yeah, sure, go for it.
I made it during a D&D session. And when I was making it, I kept asking people around me, is this funny? Like, is this funny? Because I don't know. And I don't even know where the idea of it came from. Because at the time, I've sort of lessened with it, but at the time, I was going bananas over canned peaches.
Okay.
Because I believe I was a sophomore in college, so I was around 19 years old. I'm in college. Food is limited. But I got these canned peaches. They're cheap. They can fill me up. I can buy a bunch of cans. I could stick them in my fridge and then just eat them whenever. And I was having a fucking great time with that. So at the time, like, I was just very much, like, in deep with these canned peaches. And then Miku, I honestly cannot remember why I decided to put Miku
the
there.
Miku punchline, yeah.
The Miku punchline. I don't know where that came from. All I remember is, like, sort of frantically talking to people next to me and showing them my computer, and I'm like, is this funny? Is this funny? And they were like, yeah. Cool. Great, awesome. And here we are now.
Yeah. Who knew?
I think the first ever edit of that comic that I really liked was with Mitsuki, the singer, singer-songwriter, because I really like her work. And so it was like Mitsuki or Mitsuki, or I don't know how to, but that was the first one that really resonated with me. I personally really enjoy when people redraw that comic within my style. I always get a big kick out of it. Like they redraw they redraw a character of their choosing, but if they were my comic persona, so they still look all doofy, silly. That one's always really fun. One of my favorite edits of a comic that I made, there was this comic that I made about New Zealand longfin eels. Okay. Where someone is like pointing like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is that? And I'm holding this big New Zealand longfin eel and I'm saying, that's my friend, you asshole. Someone redid that, but like the second panel is, instead of me, it's the plain doll from Bloodborne. And instead of a longfin eel, it's like the slug thing that you turn into at the true ending of the game.
Right, yeah.
And it blew me away because number one, I love Bloodborne. That's no secret. I fucking love Bloodborne so much. God, whenever I watch a PlayStation Direct or whatever you call it, I put on my dunce cap, hoping that they announce Bloodborne 2, and I always have my dunce cap on.
You and many others, don't worry. Cool. Yeah.
I'm still gonna be wearing my dunce cap. I'm still holding out hope.
For a Bloodborne 2.
But not only that, they recreated it in a way that it looked like I drew it myself. Right. Like they got like the line weight and the coloring styles down to a T, which was fantastic, and it's awesome.
That is great. Yeah.
Honestly, I think the Bloodborne edit of that comic is funnier than the original. Because I love Bloodborne so much, which surprises people because like I draw all these like cutesy stuff, and then Bloodborne is like Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne is indeed Bloodborne.
What can I say, I like funny puppies. There's so many funny puppies in Bloodborne.
They are.
So many...
I would agree with that. Yeah, there are a lot of them around.
I've only played the game up to Father Gascoigne. I've never beaten it. I don't give a shit. I'm a huge fan of the game. I've never beaten it. I have the art book. I have like the entire soundtrack on my phone. I have the vinyl soundtrack record at home. I've never beaten the game. You could be a fan of a game and not play it.
That is true. That is true.
That's my hot take. That's the tea I say as I'm drinking tea.
It's like that Earthbound thing where it's like world's biggest Earthbound fan excited to play it.
Yeah, except I'm not excited to play Bloodborne because I'm bad at video games.
You love your Bloodborne. That's perfectly fair. I know a lot of people that also love Bloodborne. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, edits like that, like yeah, I've seen so many like wonderful edits of like JoJo ones and stuff that just have like wonderful like sound effects drawn in, but it's like still in your style. Like yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, those
people
edits.
People get really creative. The only edits I don't approve of are like racist ones. There have been racist ones, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it sucks. That's no good.
But literally, when it comes to like edits of my comic, or comics or anything, just don't be hateful or bigoted, and then leave a credit for me. Like, don't edit out my signature, which people do. Or like leave like a original artist at MySillyComics, which isn't much. But still somehow is too much to ask for some people.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah, because I remember one time my friend, like, saw me doing comics, and it's like, I've seen that stuff on iFunny. And I'm like...
oh, cool, iFunny watermark, nice.
I'm like, I don't have an iFunny account.
Yeah, ooh. It is weird, isn't it? Like, seeing your art in places that just like, wait, what? Like, I didn't put that there. Like... It's happened to me as well a few times, just where it's like you just Google something and it's like, did I drew that? What? Like, what was that doing there?
And it's always really fun when I'm scrolling through my dash on Tumblr and seeing my own comics reblogged by the people I follow. I'm like,
oh, that's cool.
That's me.
No, that is really nice. Yeah, it's such a nice feeling just seeing people like enjoy it. That is awesome. I was just gonna say my favorite edit I think of your comics that I've seen is it's like I think you say like how you doing little guy, and then like
it's the baby
the edit that I saw was like a Ford Fiesta, and it was like how you doing little guy, and then like a bunch of like light up like the dashboard lights just like light
exactly
up.
That one you're talking about. That one I have mixed feelings about because it's really funny, but then also they cropped out my signature.
Oh no! Oh, that sucks.
But like, I'm like, man, this is really funny. I wish you credited me.
Yeah. Well, whoever made that, credit them. Come on. It's funny. I want to be able to support that comic and feel good about it.
I think I made that each comic has like its own little story of what I was doing at the time that led to that inspiration. Because I think that comic came from me interacting with babies at my job. Because during the summer, I would work at a grocery store. And I was a bagger. And, I worked with... And, I would be at the forefront working with customers and stuff. And there would be these babies. And they would be saying stuff to me. And I'm like, yeah. Or sometimes they would just look at you. Babies like to look.
Yeah.
They just take in everything with their big... doe eyes, and I'm like, awesome, you're a baby.
You don't even know about taxes or anything yet, guy.
You don't even know, man. You don't even know what's going on here. You don't even know about like transactions and purchases that's happening right now as you're sitting here looking at me, and you're just like looking directly into my eyes because you're a baby and you don't care. Babies are awesome. I always loved babies at the store. And so I made that. There was a number of comics I made inspired by working at the store.
Yeah.
The one with the antibiotics and the probiotics.
They cancel each other out. Yes, I remember this one.
I did actually say that to a customer. I don't remember how he reacted, but I did actually say that because I think that was near the end of a very long shift, and I stopped giving a shit a while ago.
That's awesome. No, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember
And,
your character has that shirt on in some of the comics, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't recognize what it was, but that makes sense now. It's all linking together.
and then there was that one where it's like employees must wash hands, and it's like that's me. I am employee.
Oh yeah, in the same font. Yeah, I remember that.
Because like you would always see that in the bathroom, but it
Hmm.
never like directly applied to you. Obviously, you still wash your hands because you're a decent person,
Hmm.
but
Obviously,
that sign wasn't directed at you. But once you do become employee, then it does affect you.
you are
It's like
employee.
that. Yeah.
You see, whenever I went in there, it didn't say employee, so I just didn't bother. I thought it was fine.
You disgust me.
It should have been more clear. It should have said everybody. It didn't say everybody. Only employee. I'm not employee. You're employee. I'm not.
But yeah, so people thought I worked at Target, but I didn't.
Oh right.
I worked at this grocery store chain within the Midwest called Jewel Osco, which only people from like the Midwest of the United States would
Shout out to
know.
the
Mostly
Midwest.
shout out to Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa.
Hell
We
yeah.
got Jewel Osco. But like the uniform at the time was this red shirt.
Mm.
And that's what I'd be wearing every day. And so I'm like, well, I gotta signify that I'm at work.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wear a shirt because I don't draw myself with clothes on.
Hmm.
But I'm not naked.
No, it's
I don't
just
draw myself like clothes when I'm not naked.
yeah, for sure. No, I get that.
I draw myself with clothes when it's funny.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like I don't know, Donald Duck. I think like well, like other cartoon characters. Yeah, they wear clothes when they're doing stuff, but when they're on their own, they wear their classic outfit, which is sometimes
They don't
nothing.
get. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Donald Duck be walking out with his whole dick out, and he don't care.
it's true. Very
It's true.
yeah, no, very progressive for the time, definitely. I guess we could transition from from duck dick into
a really great segue.
we'll spiral into another topic.
Ah, I'm going to kill you.
Which is yeah, like we were saying, like lots of edits and a bike outside making lots of noise. Sorry, just waiting for that to pass by. Anyway, yeah, lots of edits of your comics, which I think shows that people really enjoy them. It really hits a point with some people.
Mm-hmm.
And 60,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah,
like,
and then on Tumblr it's like 70,000.
there we go. Yeah.
Instagram it's like 20,000. I'm
Yeah.
like, that scene from SpongeBob where it's like a bunch of people are under Patrick's rock and he comes home from the grocery store and he's like, "Who are you people?"
Yeah, I do know that scene. Yeah.
That's me, but a bit more friendly. Like,
It's super
"Who are you
impressive.
people?"
No, it's awesome. Like, because it's like, I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing you. Like, some of the punchlines, they get me, man. Like, I'll stop just saying like, remember that comic where, but like one more, which my friend Theo, who's also part of CoCo Comics, I think would want me to bring up. You like tumble over, but like into space.
Yeah.
That one is awesome.
I was just going like, and then I start ascending.
I love that one. I really like that one. That one's great. I think that one and the like the demon in every comic. That one's great too. But
I need to draw that character again.
yeah, you gotta.
His name is Pants.
Pants.
Pants the demon.
Wonderful.
He's very nice.
This is forbidden lore we're learning right now. Only on Tom Talks To, I think, unless you've said this somewhere else.
I don't know. Maybe I said it in maybe I said it in some Tumblr tags somewhere.
Right. Well, unless you check the Tumblr tags, will premiere.
Shout out to the people who actually read the tags on Tumblr, because I always add commentary about what's going on, and it's like a little story, and it's like a little secret treat for people. So shout out to the people who actually read that.
Yeah, your real ones. Thank you. Like anyone that reads the tags or descriptions or anything like that, we put effort into it. So like, please read it.
We like to talk to you.
Yeah. Why do you think we're making these? Like we want to just spout shit. Come on.
It's true though.
It is true. It is absolutely true. But yeah, like I think it's undeniable that these comics they strike a very specific chord with people online. Like you don't get there's no comics like this in like the newspaper. You know what I mean? That it's
Yeah.
that they should
I think
be,
our
but
lives would be better if it
for
was.
sure, definitely, absolutely agree. But
But not saying like I should be in the newspaper, but I think more surrealist, abstract
yeah, some
humor should be included.
My Silly Comics, some Joe Wit, some stuff like
Yes, oh
that.
my
Yeah,
god, I love his work.
I love Joe Wit too. He's a great guy.
Can I just gush about him real quick?
Yeah,
He's
no,
just
go
so
for
fucking talented.
it.
I adore his comics, even about shit that I don't know about,
Yeah,
because the way he presents jokes and ideas is so fucking funny. I don't know the fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 going to Cracker
the
Barrel,
Cracker Barrel
and
Boys. Yeah, oh god, it's
and
so
then like
good.
his Beastars comics about like Louis being really into show tunes, and
Yeah.
then like that one thing where he drew the cast but from Clone High, and it's like, how did Louis get a hold of my spaghetti video? And it's so fucking funny. And
He is so brilliant. I definitely agree.
my favorite fucking one is of the Beastars things that he's done is when Legoshi takes Louis to a production of like their version of Cats the musical, but it's like man.
Men,
It's like
yeah.
it's the men. And then fucking Louis starts belting out Skimble Shanks, which I literally made a comic about today.
Today, yeah. Carbon dating it, yeah. I saw that on Twitter this morning.
I don't care. I don't care if it's dated. I
No,
don't
no
care.
problem. It's fine.
Time is important. Time is relative.
Absolutely.
I watched Cats the musical this morning.
Mhm.
That things that we do affect what we do.
Absolutely,
Whatever.
yeah. No,
I
yeah,
don't.
he's great. But yeah, before we just
Anyway,
before we start talking about Joe, like
my comics
yeah,
resonate
your
with
silly
people.
comics, not Joe's
My
silly comics.
my silly comics.
I I guess it's just like I don't know if you have an answer if you've thought about it, but what do you think it is that about your comics that people just really hone in on and just love, I suppose?
I have thought about this in my approach to creating online content. I don't really seek to be relatable
Hmm.
in the same way that I don't seek to be like wholesome and cute. I think like I don't like obviously like if I'm drawing something like, oh, this is gonna be cute. But I'm not like, oh, this is gonna be cute and the internet will love this. I'm like, this is gonna be cute because I think it's cute. This is gonna be funny because I think it's funny. And I think that resonates with people because I'm just genuine about it. You know,
Hmm.
what I do have to do to make my comics quote unquote digestible for people or just to make them understood is I have to get these abstract ideas that I have in my head and I have to make them concrete. You know, I have to make it readable. I have to make it
Hmm.
understandable. I can't if I wish to be understood, if the point that I'm making, if there is even a point at all that I want to make is understood, I have to make it understandable.
Hmm.
So I have to take these sort of running ideas in my head and pin them down
Hmm.
and like put them in a panel format of however I choose, and figure out what I want to do with that. And you know,
Hmm.
sometimes my comics are funny, sometimes they're cute, sometimes they're educational, or sometimes they're reflective. Um, but they always come from me, and I
Hmm.
think that resonates with people that I'm coming from a very genuine place. Because you know there are internet comic artists that just pump out shit just for the sake of pumping out shit.
Hmm.
And that is a grind that I can respect, but they always felt very hollow to me. It always just felt like very like cashing in on like, oh, what's hashtag relatable at the time.
Right, yeah.
Um, but like I said, I don't set out to be relatable, but I think what happens is a lot of people don't realize how many people sort of think like
Hmm.
they like I do, I guess, or
Hmm.
sort of have the same thought process that I do in my way of thinking and my way of seeing the world. In a very funny and humorous way because I tend to be very optimistic about things, and I also see the humor in a lot of situations. Um, and I think people like that really resonates with people because there's not a lot of I guess, content like that. I guess I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm the first person to make funny little comics on the internet, because I am not the first, and I will surely not be the last. But I think it resonates with people just from being genuine,
Yeah, for
coming
sure.
from a real place of like, this is my line of thinking, this is what I think is funny, and I'm not trying to be funny for other people, but I'm sharing this, you know. Because and another thing too is I don't make comics with the idea that it's going to be successful online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make comics thinking, oh, this will get like a shit ton of retweets, this will get a shit ton of likes, shit ton of comments, but maybe comic edits too. You know, I don't make things with the intent of going, I guess, viral or whatever. I never set out to be, I guess, internet famous, which is very weird to think about, that I guess that's what I am. I guess.
I'd say so, yeah.
I don't know. People have said it. I fucking guess. But I never set out to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I truly never did, and I still don't. I'm very grateful to all the people who follow me and consume my work and support me. And you know, I like to do things for them because they do so much for me. But I never set out to like please the masses or like oh, this is gonna go viral, you know.
Yeah. Have you ever had like an idea where you're like, oh, this is good, you know what I mean? Like, you think like people are gonna laugh at this, or do you just do it thinking like, I think like I'm laughing at this right now, you know?
I do both.
Right.
Because I would be laughing at the concept of it, and I'm like, okay, how can I make this concept even more funny for people who aren't in my head?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Because like when you're laughing at a concept of something that's in your head, it's so out there and abstract and just all over the place. But you know, when you want to communicate that idea, you need to use words or images, and you need to figure out how to really visualize and again communicate that idea. So that's where a lot of the challenges of making these comics come from. It's not so much the idea, but how I can make said ideas work.
I think that's,
you know?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I think like a level of was it like authenticity, like being genuine and just doing something, like there will be an audience if you do it. Essentially, you don't do it for an audience, I suppose, is like the message. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
There will be stuff where I'm just like walking around and I think of something, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Now enough with those questions. Those questions were just a warm up for this question.
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Can Bohug do a kickflip on a skateboard?
Oh fuck yeah, he can.
He can. Wonderful. I've been wanting to ask that for weeks now, and now we know. That's good. I can go up on the board next to the other characters that we know who can or cannot do a kickflip.
My friend Diga drew Bohug doing a kickflip.
Oh, nice.
I think I've drawn Bohug on a skateboard.
I'm pretty sure you have. People, yeah, I think you might have.
A lot of people. Yeah, I did. I drew a comic about it. It was like wow, Bohug, epic Bohug, and he's like wearing sunglasses and he has a really cool skateboard. Just drawing Bohug on a skateboard is really fun because he's this little baby boy and he's on this epic skateboard and he's doing an ollie and a kickflip and he's doing all these awesome tricks. That's awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah, well, there we go. You are. I think Bohug is the second character on our list now. The first character on our list is Michonne from The Walking Dead can do a kickflip. The main character of The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes, cannot. She can, and now Bohug also can. So that's wonderful news. I can't either. Don't worry.
But Bohug can.
Yeah, Bohug can. That's great. So Claire, Claire
can't.
I take him
to the skate park, and I sit in my fold-out chair, and I watch him go about the skate park like a supportive mom.
Brilliant. That's wonderful.
He's awesome.
That's great. Well, that's the last question. Now, just plug it up. What links? Where can we find you? Stuff like that. So
You
yeah,
can find me at MySillyComics on Twitter, on Tumblr, and on Instagram. Those are the places that I post my work, I cross post and stuff. Those are really the only places that you'll see my comics. I do have an official Facebook page, but I haven't posted there in a long time because I don't use Facebook. I just wanted to cover my bases because people were reposting to Facebook, and I'm like, okay. But if you want to keep up with all my shenanigans, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your flavor of social media is of those three, I'm on it and I'm there. I do have a YouTube channel. It's where I post really stupid shit that I make that I think would be funny. I make it at like 2 a.m. in video editing software on my phone, and I just throw it out and I'm like, here. But I'm on YouTube as well as MySillyComics, and there's some stuff there that you can watch if you are so inclined. But yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll put all the links in the description and stuff like that.
Baller.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Hello, this is Tom from the future again, just saying thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. Sorry there was no video for it, but since Claire was in America and I'm obviously not in America, the video just wasn't really working. But I hope you enjoyed either way. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I hope you look forward to the next episode of Tom Talks 2. Links are all in the description to our Patreon, to our comics, to our Twitter, to our Instagram, all that jazz. But yeah, I'll see you next time.